Let's pretend this is your brain. It is divided into two parts, the left and the right hemispheres. The left hemisphere is the slow one. It's the one in charge of language. It is logical and linear. For example, think about a pretty beach with white sand and a beautiful ocean and some warm sunshine. See how long it took me to describe that? But if I just show you the picture, the speed of perception is completely different because the right hemisphere is so much faster. This is the brain that works with symbols and metaphors. So now you understand the difference between the two hemispheres. For some reason, traumas tend to wind up in the right hemisphere. The brain is also divided up into three regions. This one is what we call the body brain. It's the autonomous system. This is the part of the brain that makes your body work without you having to think about it. For example, you don't have to keep thinking. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Because your brain does all of that for you autonomously, automatically. You don't have to worry about your blood pressure because that's another thing that your brain does for you as well. The second part is the emotional brain, also called the limbic system. This is where the sense of danger lives, literally. Think about anxiety for a moment. It's a sense of danger, and this is where we feel it. So what we do with EMDR therapy is try and calm down this limbic system that oftentimes stays on alert 24/7 because of a real or perceived danger. The third part is the cognitive brain. This is where we think. In one sense, Descartes held us back 200 years when he said, "I think, therefore I am." It's not all about our thoughts. Freud was right, a lot of things do happen in our unconscious mind. So this is the part of the brain that thinks and has conscious awareness. As you can see, 2/3 of our brain is unconscious. There is a lot of brain area that is not directly accessible to us as conscious memory. This is the Broca area, the verbal part, where language lives. I said earlier that the left hemisphere is linear, logical, and slow, and the language one. As we can see, the language area takes up a very small part of the totality of the brain. So let's put it all together. What does EMDR therapy do? Suppose you are in an EMDR session. You will be asked to think about an adverse experience and the images, beliefs, emotions, and sensations that go along with it. We sometimes call it the sensory input because it can also be connected with smells, tastes, and other aspects of perception. This is what gives us access to the brain file, where the memory is. So while you think about all of these aspects of the memory, the therapist will apply bilateral movements. In this case, it was visual. I'm not going to go into all of the very complex details of how all of this happens in the brain, but I'm sure you get the general idea. As you think about the bad experience, the brain begins to link up the memory with the narrative, with language, with emotions, with physical sensations, and the negative charge begins to decrease. It gets digested or processed, so that in the end, you have a memory that doesn't bother you like before. Instead of that horrible thing that happened, the memory gets reprocessed and the file can go into the past. I'm not going to say that it turns into a happy memory, because it's not possible to turn tragedies into something happy, but it does lose its ability to harm us. The negative charge is dissolved, and we can lose the pain and suffering that is attached to the memory. So in very simplistic terms, this is what happens inside your brain when you do EMDR therapy.